to the Kill the Clock podcast. I'm Tyler, and I got my man Rob Neat here. How's it going, Rob Neat?
Doing well. Glad to have basketball back on TV.
That's what I'm saying. It's been good to get back into the flow of the season. I've been excited to see everybody back out on the court. But yeah, let's get right into it and talk some hoops then. I'm out of Michigan, obviously. Well, not obviously, because we've never been on before. But yeah, I'm out of Michigan, so I've been watching a lot of Pistons recently. And I've been really impressed. Last night, I was watching, they were playing against your Kings last night, and the offense was really clicking. They had a lot of ball movement, which we haven't really seen early on in the season. So it was kind of nice to really see them get the ball around. They had 28 assists on 40 field goal makes. So, I mean, it looked pretty good. But, I mean, it's against Sacramento. It's a young team, obviously. But, you know, it was good to see them really get out there and get everybody involved, you know.
Yeah, and I think Reggie Jackson, he just looks a lot faster. I think he wasn't healthy to begin with last year, right? So,
yeah, no doubt.
Him being healthy makes a big difference. And then, Tobias Harris has been shooting really well. What is he shooting from three again?
Oh yeah, he was shooting I think almost 46% from three, and then right around over 50% from the floor. So he's putting up numbers for sure. I think he's been a key guy this season, no doubt.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, he wasn't that great a shooter at with the Magic, when he was there, but you guys didn't have to give up much to get him.
No, and that's the best part about it, because he's really been able to develop, like you said, just since his Orlando days. And I think he played back at Tennessee, right?
I don't remember what college, but yeah, I'm
pretty sure I remember him in that orange uniform. But yeah, he's really developed that 3-point shot. I know he was pulling up from right behind the arc the other night, and he has been recently. So that's good to see him. I think Stan is obviously giving him that green light. So it's good to see him that if he can develop into a secondary offensive option. We obviously have the Jackson and Drummond pick and roll. That's our primary weapon, I think. We haven't seen as much pick and roll. It's been more, I think, Reggie getting to the basket, like you were saying, which obviously is good to see. But I think the pick and roll when they first started was really their bread and butter. So if they could get back to more of that, and with Tobias doing his secondary stuff, I think that really opens up the offense.
Yeah, I think the shooting overall has been really good this year. I mean, Avery Bradley is a really good shooter. And, he hit a couple of daggers against the Kings last night. And I think, him and with Tobias shooting that well, it just opens everything up, for Jackson and Drummond. It is kind of hard to have like two below average shooters. With Drummond, he doesn't really space the floor. And then Jackson still isn't that great of a shooter, but that pick and roll is still so deadly. And do you feel like the offense for the Pistons is similar when Jackson is on the bench and Ish Smith is there, because they seem like, similar type of players where you could run the same type of plays with either one on the floor?
Right. And I think that continuity really helps, especially when you get bringing in the second unit. The Pistons' second unit plays heavy minutes because they have those key guys like Ish Smith, like Anthony Tolliver. Who else they got? Langston Galloway. That was the other guy I wanted to mention. They've all been playing really well, just a next man up mentality. And like you were saying, yeah, Ish Smith has a similar game to Reggie Jackson. And I think that continuity really helps because you can throw him out there with Drummond and still get similar production. I think Ish is even quicker than Reggie. He's super fast. So having him out there is a real asset. He can get to the rim at any time. I know I saw him doing a couple like backdoor cuts and cuts on the baseline just to get to the basket because he's so fast he can just beat his man.
Yeah.
But Anthony, he's been good.
Oh, go for it.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Anthony Tolliver is actually doing really well too, and he played well for the Kings last year too, and he's another guy that like spaces the floor well. But what do you think about Stanley Johnson? He seems like he's been kind of disappointing again this year.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously been the rap on Stan the man for his career now. But what can he do? I mean, it's still only his third year, so he's still a young guy. But I think he just tries to do too much at times. So I think it benefits for him to be in the starting lineup, so he doesn't have as much responsibility on the court, you know, because I think his best tools come as a defender. You know, he's obviously got that huge frame. He's 6'7", around 240, 250. So he's a freak athlete. So I think if he can just really develop on the defensive end, I know he's averaging over a steal game right now. His shooting numbers are obviously weak, but I mean, what can you do? His form has looked okay. He started off his career with just piss poor form. So, I mean, it's good to see him. He was 2 for 2 from three, I think last night or the game before. So because he can knock down the corner three. I mean, he can get one of those, I think, every game or so. So, I mean, he can hit the open shot, but it's obviously something you want to see improve. But hopefully he can just really rely on those defensive tools and build from there. You know, we'll see.
Yeah, and it's hard to judge rookies right now, but I saw Luke Kennard had like a nice curl. He came off a nice curl screen, and had a jumper against the Kings in the fourth quarter. But his shooting numbers aren't that great right now. Overall, he's you know, his numbers on spot ups aren't that good, but he also hasn't shot that many of them, so it's a small sample size. But he was a great shooter coming into the draft, you know, so I do expect those numbers to go up, right?
Oh yeah, I hope so. I mean, obviously rookies they're gonna struggle, you know, the first couple months, even the whole first season, you know, just to get adjusted to the NBA game. Obviously, you got a couple feet longer on the 3-point line, so that'll take some time to adjust to. But I think he has great mechanics. Obviously, had a great education at the Duke University with my man Coach K. So I think he's a smart player, you know, and he goes to another great coach in Stan Van Gundy. So I'm hoping that he'll develop. You know, watching that draft, we were one pick away from Malik Monk, one pick, and he hasn't started off that great in Charlotte. But I mean, I still think he's going to turn into a really dynamic player, and I think he would have really benefited from playing in Stan Van Gundy's system. But you know, Steve Clifford's still a good coach. I think Monk will still work out, and I'm happy with Kennard. I think if we couldn't get Monk, he's the next best shooter in the draft, and hopefully, yeah, he'll continue to develop. You know, I know Stan really likes him, and he's gotten minutes early, so hopefully we'll see that improvement continue. You know.
Yeah, I did like him and coming into the draft, and he has a nice floater also.
Oh yeah.
Donovan Mitchell went right after him, which is looking like a steal, though. I don't think that many people thought that Mitchell was going to be this good.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would go in the top 10 now if they redid the draft.
Oh yeah, I think so. But you know, even some of the duds that we had marked originally coming out of the draft fight, like Markkanen, they're calling him Larry Markkanen or something like that, because he's just knocking down in Chicago. I think he's up at like 16 points a game or something like that.
Yeah, he looks really good, and that pick and pop when they run with him is just just really hard to stop. But
which you know, I'm surprised at, because on that pick and pop, all their point guards are basically dog shit. So why are you biting on that drive to the basket? But no, just in all seriousness, yeah, Markkanen, I think he's having a great start. Hopefully we'll see that continue for the big fella.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Kings.
Okay. If we have to. No, I'm just kidding.
There's honestly not much to talk about. The offense is bad. The rotations are a mess. There's no consistency. There's been multiple starting lineups, and George Hill has been out numerous times, and the other veterans that the Kings signed, and Zach Randolph and Vince Carter, just haven't been playing that well. So the veterans haven't been playing that well, and it's, you know, Scal has looked good, and Fox has looked good, and Fox has looked like the best player on the court at times, which is you know, it says something to, you know, his talent level, but at the same time, he's had his struggles. So if he's the best player on the team, then your team isn't very good, and that's what we're seeing right now with the Kings.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, their young players' production hasn't really translated into wins yet. But I mean, De'Aaron Fox has really looked explosive, getting to the rim, and like you were saying, I think he's been quite the dynamic player to start off the year. And he's a guy that I wasn't personally that high on, but I know a lot of people were. So it's good to see him playing well. I mean, it's good to see any player playing well. I wish all these guys played well, but yeah, I mean, just really seeing him be aggressive, I think, has been good to start the year, and hopefully he'll just continue to add to that. I know he's super quick, but if he can get that jumper going down, then he'll be a really good player, I think.
Just curious, why weren't you as high on him as like some other people were?
I see the shooting thing really bothers me. That's something that I think is essential, but obviously you got time to learn that. You know, he's still very young, and he's very slight of frame. I think I saw reports, or not reports, but just his stats coming out of the draft that he was like 165 or 155. So I mean he's kind of frail, I think, to go up against a lot of these really athletic ones that you see in the NBA. Obviously, this is the time of the point guard right now in the league. So I think he might struggle just going against some of these bigger guards to start off his career. But you know, like I said, I hope all these guys succeed, and I think he'll turn into a good player once he fills out and if he can develop that jumper.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question mark for him is his jump shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, he's able to get to the basket whenever he wants, pretty much. I think there was a game against the Nuggets where he was kind of, had a couple baskets against them, and then Mike Malone decided to, blitz him and send two people trapping him in the pick and roll. And the first time it happened, he didn't know what to do, so he kept backing up until he was up to the half court line, and then he finally passed it. But the next time that the Nuggets did that on the next play, he was able to pass it, immediately to Scal when he got trapped.
That's good. That's good. And those are the type of adjustments you want to see, especially in the same game.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's a good learner. Even at Kentucky, from his first game to his last game, he improved a lot too. So I think he's a good character guy. His jumper does worry me. And, coming in, I had Dennis Smith ranked higher by one spot.
Yeah.
And I think, Smith does look better, but there were some character issues, I guess, minor issues with Smith and, his injury concern. I think Smith missed a meeting with the Sixers or some team, before the draft.
Okay.
And his effort level wasn't there at NC State, but NC State was also a mess with them firing their coach in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
But
well, who are you higher on? I'm curious who you're higher on between Buddy Hield or De'Aaron Fox. Who do you like more?
I think it's Fox for sure. I think Fox has been the brightest spot on the Kings. He's the most likely player to be an all-star on the team. And Buddy is an interesting player. He'll score 9 points straight, and it's this dude could go off at any minute, but then he'll disappear for the next 6 minutes, and it's where were you?
What do you see his long-term role being? Because I mean, what you just described, the first thing that came to my head was a Jamal Crawford type, where short stints he's okay, he can come up and really carry the offense, but maybe he's not a guy that you want out there for long periods at a time. But what do you think?
I think he could be a solid starter, and he could average 15 points per game or something like that. Maybe more, depending on the type of how deep the shooting guard position is on the team. Because right now the Kings have Bogdanovich from Europe, and he's looked really good, actually. He probably looks a little bit better than Buddy at this point, but he's also older.
What's the MO on Bogdanovich? What's going on with him?
He's just a really good shooter. The Kings tried to make him as a ball handler a little bit, and it didn't really work. But I mean, he could do it better than Buddy, I guess. But overall, he's been very impressive. He's shooting 52% from the field right now,
Nice. Okay.
And so he has 11 assists on the year too. So, yeah, I think he's a really good shooter. He doesn't have that many moves to get open, but yeah, I think that's the thing for Buddy is that like Bogdan being there gave him a little bit more competition, but it's also taking some of his minutes away.
Right. Because they're starting Bogdanovic and bringing Buddy off the bench right now, aren't they? I think that was what the lineup last night.
Yeah, their lineups have just been like all over the place. I think that's something I don't know if I necessarily agree with Coach Yeager right now is that there's no consistency with the players so that they don't really know their roles on the team. It takes time to get used to a starting role or get used to a bench role, and you're playing with the same type of guys on the bench or whatever.
Right.
So I think that's been that's not the main reason the Kings have been doing bad, but I think that factors into it a little bit.
Hey, well, I mean, at least they probably had some sick ass parties at Zach Randolph's house, right?
At
least I would hope.
I don't know if that's what the management wanted when they were hiring him, but yeah.
Hey, that's what Michigan State Spartans do, man. That's what no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But overall, I think this is a lost season for the Kings. They just better hope that they hit on their top pick
no
coming
doubt.
into the year. Cauley-Stein has looked a little bit better, but overall, he seems more like a bench player. The biggest bright spots have been Fox and Labissiere.
Well, Cauley-Stein, is he up for an extension at the end of this year? It's got to be coming close, if not at the end of this year.
Yeah, it might be at the end of next year or this year. Yeah, I'll double check in the meantime. But
okay. And I mean, I think you guys, you'll probably get another good pick this year because you guys still have the your first round pick from this year, right?
Yeah, not the 2019 pick.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, this draft is really loaded at the top. So hopefully, if that pick can be, top 5, top 7, you'll add another good young player to that. You just gotta rely on Sacramento to make the right pick. You could use another center though, I suppose.
I think right now the Kings just need talent. I would draft any position except maybe point guard, but even then, the Kings just need to find a future All-Star because right now there isn't one. And Willie Cauley-Stein has this year and next year, and then he's due for a new contract. But yeah, but there was also some talks about trading Malachi to the Magic for Mario. Which I think the Kings should do, but I think the Magic were asking for a second, and I don't know if they wanted to do that. But it's just a rumor, so who knows?
I mean, shoot, I think Hezonja might already be a bust. Honestly, I would rather stick with Malachi Richardson because he's only this is his second year, I think, and he's just super long, and I think he can develop into a nice 3-and-D guy,
Yeah, that's the hope, but it's just the thing is there's so many like guys with similar. He has to compete with Bogdan and Buddy and Justin Jackson for minutes, and so that's another issue. But I think Harry Giles will come and play after January or something like that. So he's another interesting piece that the Kings have. That maybe he could be a bright spot for the Kings, but. I honestly saw him more as like a Tristan Thompson type of player, as a best scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have really similar build, and they got that high motor, can get up on the glass. But obviously you got to stay healthy, and I mean that's the big concern with Giles. But I think you guys bring him along in the D League or G League. I'm sorry for long enough, and obviously he's not coming back off the ACL tear, right?
Yeah.
So he's coming back January.
Yeah, I mean, even at Duke last year, he just barely played. I don't even know if He should have played at all. It was just, this you're basically drafting him from his high school tape because there isn't just anything at Duke. The only stuff at Duke that you saw was that, okay, this guy could be like a good rebounder.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, what they got him with end of the first round this year?
Yeah, I think it was like 21st or something like that.
Oh, 21st. Oof. Okay. So yeah, then maybe that might come back to haunt him. But I mean, you never know. Obviously, hopefully he's able to stay healthy and contribute. Like you said, even Tristan Thompson, he's a useful piece on a title team. That's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, he got $85 million last year.
Yeah. He was picked 20.
20. Okay. Oh yeah, because they made that trade with Portland, right? And that's how Portland traded up to get Zach Collins.
Yep. Portland got pick number 10, and then the Kings got 15 and 20, and 15 was Justin Jackson.
Right. And I'm surprised that Justin Jackson, I think he was getting minutes last night, and I didn't see Malachi get out on the floor at all. So that's surprising to see that Jackson's already supplanted him.
Yeah. I think he already has for sure.
But
yeah. Any other teams that have surprised you so far in the beginning of the, I guess, 10 games?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the Sixers, I've been able to catch some of their games. They've looked pretty good. Obviously, Ben Simmons getting a lot of buzz. He's like a near triple-double machine, you could say. So he's been fun to watch. Obviously, Embiid out there. He played a career-high 30 minutes the other night, so that was exciting to see. But yeah, I really like the core that they have in Philadelphia. If everything can go right there, I think they'll be a power in the near future.
Yeah, it's just Simmons is going to be an all-star this year, and so is Embiid. And
oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and Redick just went off the other night, and he was just
oh my gosh. I saw the highlights of that game, and his shots were unbelievable.
Yeah, he had the 1-3 where the shot clock was, running down, and he's running through the corner, and he has that high arcing shot that went in, and
he fell like right into the first row. That was gnarly.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. But overall, I think.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, overall, this team is really good, and Simmons is just like unstoppable in transition.
Oh yeah,
he's already one of the better passers in the league, which is kind of crazy for just being 21 years old. And he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but
I think so.
I think being out last year kind of helped him. With you're just being around the team and you're like watching film, and so you have a year to study basically, and get like acclimated to how long the season is going to be. So I do think that definitely helps. But the Sixers team looks like they could be a playoff team. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think they've won 4 in a row, and I mean, obviously it's still the first 10 games, but they're looking good. If everybody can stay healthy, I think they could make the playoffs, no doubt.
Yeah, they won 4 straight. They're 5-4 right now.
Right.
The Fultz injury is, it's been kind of weird because, no one really knows what's the main issue. It's just like soreness, but I don't know. He's out indefinitely, and if they had him being healthy, this team could be, really, really scary and would be a lock for the playoffs. But I still think they'll make the playoffs without him.
But see, Fultz is a guy that I don't know. I didn't get to watch a lot of him in college. I'll be honest. I mean, I wasn't watching a lot of Washington, but his game looks good. But he's just a guy that I've never really been high on. I think the Celtics trading that #1 pick really says a lot. They were all in on him just by seeing his game, which I think is great. But when they looked at the chemistry stuff, I think with just his attitude and his fit, I think that was what really pushed their hand to trade that pick and just get more assets and take their guy with Jason Tatum. But I personally, I'm a big Lonzo Ball fan. I think he should have been the pick at #1. That would have been my guy personally. But But so I think I don't know if the Fultz loss, I don't know if that really is going to make a big of a difference on their playoff aspirations. Honestly, even if Fultz, even if they rest him for the rest of the season, I think if everybody keeps playing at the level they are right now, again, obviously it's still November, but I think they'd be fine without him. Honestly.
Yeah, I could see that. He wasn't really contributing that much to begin with.
Right.
But
oh yeah, his numbers were terrible. And
yeah.
I mean, they're very small sample size, but they were bad.
I do think he's better than Ball though.
Really?
But
What let's put it to the test. What's our reasons, pros and cons? What do you like about Fultz?
if we have a healthy Fultz, then he's a good shooter for sure.
Right. I agree. Definitely agree.
Right now, Lonzo just can't get his shot off. You know, he got a shot blocked, you know, twice. I think in that Portland game where he was 0 of 2 or something.
Yeah.
And in that game, he just kind of, you know, he kind of had that Buddy effect where he disappeared for, you know, the fourth quarter, and he just didn't really do anything because, you know, the ball wasn't in his hands, and they're running sets. You know, and so he's not the main focus point of the offense at that point. So if he doesn't have the ball in his hands and he's not, you know, going up and down the court and pushing the tempo, then, you know, his value goes down a lot lower, I think. And so, and I'm also a little bit worried about his defense. I do think he could be an average defender, but right now he's not good, and he doesn't know where to like position himself when a screen's coming and whatnot.
Right. I agree with all that. I think those are all good points. But I mean, I can't say it because I'm talking shit about Markelle, but you know, he's got a good coaching staff with Luke Walton and Brian Shaw out in LA. So I think he'll have time to develop. And he's definitely not a great defender right now. I agree, but you know, he's pretty long, and he's what I think like 6'5", so he's got decent size. You know, I think he'll be able to contribute similar to how we see like Steph Curry contributed in Golden State's system now, you know? And I mean, I don't want to compare him to Steph Curry because obviously they're totally different players, but I think that Lonzo presents a similar game as Ben Simmons, you know, where they're both, you know, not great scorers or anything, but their vision, it really sets them apart. And obviously Simmons is a lot bigger and stuff, but I think just the effect that they're able to have with the ball in their hands, like you were saying, it really, I think, makes people gravitate towards them. And, you know, Lonzo, he's a maestro when he gets that ball in his hands. You know, the passes I see him make are they're unbelievable. I don't see anybody else in the league making them. Like, it's nuts for a guy this young to just like pick that stuff up. But I mean, I think he'll develop, and once I see more of Markelle Fultz, I think I'll be able to get a better handle on it. But it's just, I don't know, from the stuff that I've seen, I really like Lonzo at Summer League too. I was able to watch him play out there, and he was good.
Yeah,
I really liked watching him play in person.
Yeah, like he drew a lot of big crowds, you know, at Summer League. No doubt. They sold out one game for the first time ever in Summer League. They sold out a game because of him. And he kind of struggled actually, I think that game and a couple games before that. But at the end of near the end of Summer League, he was, you know, maybe the best player, and that's why he won Summer League MVP. But I mean,
exactly,
it's take that with a grain of salt. Summer grain.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's you saw him get comfortable like that, and he's a guy that he's like cool as a cucumber 95% of the time when you see him out on the court. So I think once he gets more time out there, like come New Year, we'll see him really flourishing, or at least I hope.
Yeah, you know, I never know. Yeah, I think he's going to improve, and I think the coaching staff will kind of figure out better ways to use him.
Right.
I do wonder if he has to change his shot if he has to change his shooting mechanics.
And you know that's something that I think definitely is probably going to have to come in the future. You know, like you were saying, he just gets his shot blocked way too much. You know, everybody sees it coming. He's got that wind up from the side. You know, it's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
But I think honestly a lot of it probably comes from LeVar. Unfortunately, you know, puts a big spotlight on that, and obviously he's the one that taught Lonzo how to play, you know. So if they go out and start changing his jump shot, obviously people are going to notice, you know, and maybe they just don't want to deal with that shitstorm of LeVar going on freaking every single ESPN show saying, "Oh, these damn Lakers changing my son's jump shot." Oh my God. I could see it already, man, but
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
But I think the Lakers and him have to come to like a mutual agreement, and maybe they already have, about like, this is your son, but at the same time we want him to improve just as much as you do. But
right.
To do that, you have to let us coach him, and you kind of have to back off now.
No
Which
doubt.
I think that would be the case. I think that, you know, I think LeVar would do that.
Yeah, I agree, and I hope he would. You know, at the end of the day, I understand like what he's doing. You know, he's playing a character. You know, he's just trying to build his brand, and I get that. But at the end of the day, you gotta realize that that's your son, and you know it's his career. You know.
Yeah.
What do you think of Brandon Ingram? I'm curious because I know a lot of people are selling Brandon Ingram stock, which makes me happy because I'll take all that shit because I'm really high on Brandon Ingram.
I would say before he got drafted, I thought the gap between him and Simmons was smaller than what it actually is right now.
Oh yeah, it's a big gap.
There's a big gap right now. You know, Simmons is already an all-star in my opinion, and Ingram still has a ways to go, but he's also quite younger. You know, I think he was the youngest rookie, or one of the maybe the second youngest rookie last year.
Yeah, I think him and Bender were both like 18 when they got drafted.
Yeah. I like him. I think it shows a lot about the Lakers' confidence to put Ingram on Lillard at the end of the game when Lillard hit that game-winning three.
Right.
And if you look at the slow motion replay of that shot, you know, Ingram was kind of close to, not close to blocking it, but he did do a good job. So I think defensively, he'll be good. They use him as a ball handler a lot, which is like a learning experience for him.
Right.
So I like Ingram. I think he's going to be fine. I agree. I think that one of the impressive stories for the Lakers has been Kyle Kuzma. I think he's already better than Julius Randle, and I think Randle should be expendable for them. You know, I think I would try to trade him or something because Kuzma looks a lot more confident defensively. I think he's already better than Randolph, and he's just more of a modern four than Julius is.
Right, I agree. And I mean, I think, like you were saying, I think Randall is going to end up being that guy that gets packaged along with Luol Deng if they can find that trade. I think that's who you'll see go with him. But yeah, I mean Randall, I still like him as a player. You know, I think they let him run the offense at times as well, and I mean he's shown that he can do that. So I mean. I like him, but yeah, I definitely think that what you were saying about Kuzma, that he's just more modern and just a better fit. You know, I think my guy Dave Dufour always mentions that he sees Kuzma playing the 5 eventually, and I think that's a great role for him because he's almost 6'10", you know, I think 230, and he's got that shooting stroke. You know, it's beautiful. So yeah, I think he's definitely a better fit long term, but that doesn't make Randall any less of an asset. Hopefully in the trade market, like you were saying.
Yeah, I actually think Randall is also improved this year, but he doesn't have a 3-point shot, you know.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what limits his value right now, is that teams want that guy who could spread the floor, and if he could only do it from the mid range, then he's just not going to have as big a market. Because everyone wants 3-point shooters now. Yeah, so I don't know I don't know what team would be interested in, you know, Luol Deng and Randall, but
yeah, that's a tough find.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, you never know. We've seen crazier things, and honestly, there was all this hype about, LeBron James and Paul George coming to LA,
Right.
after this year's, and I just don't see it. This team is still a long way to go, has a long way to go, and Lonzo, he's going to improve by the end of the year, but if you're LeBron or Paul George, even with them together on this team, they're not good enough to beat the Warriors or even maybe San Antonio. I mean, but they're not good enough to beat the Warriors for sure.
No.
So
no,
I don't know.
But I mean, we'll see. I think that's gonna be my next article. You just talked me into it. Finding trade destinations for Julius Randle and Luol Deng. That's gonna be my next project.
Yeah. So where can people find your articles?
You can find my articles at oh shoot, I forgot the name of our website, Rob. I'm sorry.
Oh, Attack the Paint?
Attack the Paint. That's where you can find my articles. Yeah, they're gonna be posted on there. You can find the links in my Twitter as well at TY_MAK32. Yeah, I'm Tyler Makins. Look out for my stuff. You can find it anywhere.
It's good stuff for sure. So check it out. And before we end this thing, do you want to talk about some rookies that have surprised you besides Ben Simmons? And we talked about Fox and Lonzo. But has there been anyone else that has surprised you?
I don't know. Let me bring up the draft list real quick, just so I got everybody in front of me.
Can I talk about someone who
yeah,
I really
like? Get it.
I think Dennis Smith has looked really, really good.
Oh yeah,
when he's played, I think he's better than De'Aaron Fox right now. The only thing I would be concerned about if I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan is that his landing mechanics, and I've only seen a little bit of him dunking and landing where it's not that good this year. So far, his landing mechanics look okay, but I remember in Summer League people were talking about it more, and so that's my only concern with him right now. Because otherwise, he's an average passer. I do think Fox is a better passer at this point, but his jump shot is just a lot better than Fox, and he could get to the basket whenever he wants.
Right. I agree. Yeah. I think Dennis Smith, definitely a dynamic player. Landed in a great spot down in Dallas with Coach Carlisle. I think that they'll really be able to develop him into a star player. He's already good for a highlight play a game, so that's good to see that he's at least getting up and just making contributions. And I agree with everything that you said. Another guy that I wanted to talk about, I talked about him a little bit before, was Lauri Markkanen over in Chicago. The big man shooter. He's been putting up numbers so far. He's averaging 16 points and 9 rebounds a game already to start the year, and shooting up at around 38%. So, I mean, that's good to see. We talked about he's really great in the pick and pop. So, obviously, it's good to see him excelling in some form of NBA offense, this early, just because the reports weren't that high on him coming in. So, I mean, it's good to see him contribute. And then another young guy, he's a second-year player this year, I guess, but he's surprised me definitely, is Domantas Sabonis. He's looked another big man that can shoot the ball down in Indiana, and he's looked really good. I think he's already had a couple perfect games. He was 7 for 7, 9 for 9, hitting threes. His jumper looks really smooth. So it's good to see him improve. And then the last guy, Jason Tatum, over in Boston. He obviously is getting a lot more time after the Gordon Hayward injury, but I think he's really been able to make the most out of those minutes, which is good. He's averaging 13 points a game, and he's shooting over 50% from beyond the arc. So, I mean, he's putting up numbers, which I think is good to see. Him and Jaylen Brown both contributing, I think, really well over in Boston. Got a good young core. I think they'll be able to compete for many years to come, as well as right now, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, there's they've won 7 straight games, after losing their first 2. And
oh yeah,
I mean, I could only imagine this team with Gordon Hayward. I think they would actually be a legit contender to the Cavs if they had Hayward. And right now, they're still looking like, at worst, like the third or fourth worst team in the East.
oh yeah,
that just tells you how far along, Tatum is in his rookie year.
right. And I mean, people were really, well, not okay. I shouldn't say they were low on the Celtics after the Hayward injury, but I think a lot of people really counted them out, right from there.
Yeah.
But essentially, they have new pieces. Obviously, that was the big story coming in. They have 11 new players, but in their main core, they just did a swap of Kyrie Irving for Isaiah Thomas. So I mean, I think you're getting similar production from this unit this year compared to the team last year. And I mean, Kyrie is really sharing the ball. He's up at almost 6 assists a game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's good numbers for him. And he's shooting at similar clips from last year. So I think they're definitely a good team capable of a top 5 seed, just like you were saying.
Yeah. And actually, in the first game against the Cavs, it was, it looked like a different Kyrie where he wanted to get more, his players involved instead of him just going ISO, which he does do. It just in the fourth quarter more now, when the team like really needs him to score. But yeah, he looks really, really good. And just a couple other rookies, Frank Ntilikina. How do you say his last name? Is it Ntilikina?
Ntilikina, I believe.
Okay.
Ntilikina. The N is silent.
Ntilikina.
Yeah.
He looks actually really good defensively, which I don't think is surprising anyone who scouted him.
Right.
But he does look like he has a soft touch, and he has so I think he's a good shooter. And some of his passes have been good in transition. I just wonder, how good of a passer he's going to be in the half court. So he's done pretty well. Mitchell is also, we talked about, has been really, really good in summer league and a few games in the season. And then Malik Monk had some crazy games this year too, where he just goes off, randomly off the bench. So I think he was a good pick at 11 for them. So I think overall, and we didn't even talk about Josh Jackson. So and Markelle Fultz isn't healthy. So this draft was really good, like as expected.
Right, I agree. And I like that you touched on Ntilikina. His raw numbers haven't been that great, but I think his feel for the game has been really good, and he's in great shape. I caught a little bit. The Knicks were playing the Pistons last week, and he's in really good shape. So yeah, I think he'll be able to contribute right away once he gets more of a feel for the NBA game. You'll see those numbers go up for sure.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about with the Pistons or anyone else?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I really gave Tobias Harris enough justice. He is really playing well, and I just wanted to touch on him one more time. That I think that if he can keep this up just the way that he has really been attacking, and just he must have the green light from Stan Van Gundy, because he just, when he's open, he just shoots it, he flings it, and it's gone. He's really been looking good from like the triple threat stance. Like he's like a mini Melo right now. So I mean, if he can keep that up, I really like the Pistons' chances. Hopefully they'll be able to make some noise this year.
So I'm just going a little bit deeper into some of his stats. Isolation wise, he's not doing that well. He's shooting 39%, which isn't bad, but right now it's a little bit below average. Spotting up, he is doing crazy good. And he's also doing really good as a pick and roll ball handler, which I guess the Pistons have been using him more in that. Would you say?
Yeah. I think so. He's capable of putting the ball on the floor, and he's even, the mid-range shot is obviously not a very high efficiency shot for most guys, but he has no problem pulling up from 10, 15 feet out and just knocking it down, because he's 6'9", 235, so he's a big guy. He can get up over guys easily.
So right now the Pistons are in second place in the Eastern Conference. Where do you kind of see them finishing uh, in terms of their regular season record?
I don't think they're going to be able to sustain second place. I don't think that'll happen. I think the Cavs will straighten out and start really cranking out wins. But I think they could definitely finish in the top half of the standings. You know, if everything breaks right. I really like the Wizards. So I think the Wizards and the Cavs are definitely solidly in front of them. And you know, Toronto is good. Indiana's been playing well, even. You know, there's some decent teams out in the East, Boston as well. But I think they really have. Unfortunately, the Hayward injury I think opens things up for them that they can fight for that top 4 spot. You know, maybe with Boston.
Yeah, I kind of see that. I see Boston ahead of them, but I see your point. I think the Celtics, Raptors, Wizards, and Cavs are all ahead of them. So maybe they could fight for that fifth, sixth seed, which is still pretty good. You know, this team,
Right.
you know, if they could, you know, still finish as a fifth seed, you know, this conference does look a little bit better than people thought in the beginning of the year. But it's still very early, and you know, we'll see how things go down the line.
And I think for the Pistons, the thing that sets them apart is the system. You know, Stan Van Gundy is a great coach, and I think he's really starting to get acclimated to his players. You know, I think this is his 4th year here, so I think he's really starting to get a feel for his players. His players are starting to get a feel for his system, and you know, guys are just getting open shots. So hopefully, if it can continue, we'll be up there.
Yeah, it should be an exciting year in Detroit. But you guys have a new arena, right?
Yes, sir. Little Caesars Arena.
I heard that the attendance hasn't been that great for some reason. Is that been the case, or is that just rumor?
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, it's super funny that you bring that up actually, because I haven't like done any research into it or anything, but yeah, the stands have looked really empty, especially at the beginning of games. It's tough, which I mean, I don't know if it's because they just redid like the whole downtown district in Detroit. So I don't know if people are just stopping at restaurants and staying late or something like that, or getting hammered at the bar or whatever. But yeah, the stands have not looked too full, unfortunately.
Well,
I don't know.
If the team keeps playing like this, then you know the seats will get full, because right now they look like a for sure playoff team, and there's a lot of stuff to like about this Detroit team. So
right,
I think
fans
will come in at least to see the new arena at the very least.
Well, you know, it's funny because they just opened up the new arena this year, and I mean, I think that was mainly a replacement for Joe Louis downtown because the Joe's is closing. But they just did literally millions of dollars of like renovations to the Palace. They put in a new scoreboard, like all new seating and stuff like that, new VIP suites, and now they're just not even using the Palace. So like I don't get it, man. These guys got too much money to throw around, but.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you checked out the arena by any chance?
I haven't. No, I was gonna go. They were doing a WWE WWE Hell in a Cell at Little Caesars Arena, and I was gonna go down there for my birthday, but I couldn't make it out. But no, I haven't yet. But I'll get to a Pistons game soon.
Yeah, you gotta let us know how it goes once you go, and I don't know if it'll be as good as Sacramento's arena, but I'm sure it's.
I doubt it. Yeah. Hey, we got better ball though, all right? I'd rather what? No,
that's true. That's very true.
No, both teams are looking bright though, my man. It's looking up. It's looking up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that does it for Kill the Clock. Thanks for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. We'll see you guys. Thanks for having me.